Welcome everyone to the Trisbrina Show, and in tonight's episode, we're going to chat about the power of the brain-body connection. It is so powerful, and are you using the power of the brain-body connection for good or for not good? Are you using that power to give you better health, better choices, better moods, and less pain? Or are you using that power without knowing to actually cause more problems? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you some exercises and really explain to you how you need to think about it to make sure that you're using that power for your own good.
You know, she just put the power right in our lap with the word choosing and using, right? Are you using it? Am I using it? And sometimes I don't think it feels like it's our choice. It's like, but this is just the way I'm wired, or this is just my pattern, or these are my thoughts and I can't change them, or this is a habit that I have. And the reality is you can choose your mood and you can choose your thoughts and you can choose to rewire your brain, which is going to be a big part of today's topic. We're going to be digging into what we call mind-body magic, some interesting discoveries that we've had on our journey of the brain-body connection, and a cool move. If you stay along, I'm going to show you a really cool move that changed my life and the health of my body. I'm going to teach you how to do it.
Yeah, and we're going to give you some examples of what is a brain-body connection. If you're thinking like, yeah, I've read about that and it just sounds like foo-foo, we're going to give you some real-life examples. But before we get into all of that, if you haven't heard, we are extending an invitation because of everything that's going on in the world right now. There's a lot of people's bodies who are under stress and feeling locked up and shut down. And so we're extending an invitation for people to get a copy of our Happy Healthy Back program for 70% off. There's a coupon code that you use to get that discount. That coupon code is Happy Back. And there was always some bonuses with it, and we'll talk more about that later. But yesterday we just added a bonus because of the times, which is a copy of a workshop that we've never released before in any program.
It's been in the vault.
And it was an energy healing and immune boosting workshop. It was 3 of our favorite moves. And what occurred to us, the reason to include it is because a lot of people are having chronic pain and stiffness and soreness because of what their minds are thinking, because of the worry and concern. And also one of the movements in that masterclass, this is a $197 value. We're just giving it to everyone who picks up a copy of Happy Healthy Back. And if you already have a copy, poof, you're going to see it appear in your members area. But there's some spinal rotation. So it's a really good blend of boosting the immune system with the Happy Healthy Back program. So we just added that yesterday. But the sale ends tomorrow, so if you want a copy, get it before then.
You are a natural-born saleswoman.
Thank you.
Seriously, hashtag over-deliver, because the concern and the worry about getting sick, I think, is what's being internalized, and that stress has caused the stiffness and pain. I had it. I shared about it last time we were together. It hit me hard in the very beginning of the lockdown, and then I had to figure out, oh, this was a brain-body thing. So many things are brain-body. And that's why we wanted to make this episode all about that and talk about the mind-body discovery. But before we do, welcome.
Can you tell us, those who are in the chat, just really quickly, how is the sound? Can you hear me? Can you hear Tristan? Is there any loud hissing? And that would be really helpful.
We actually did a tech check before we started, so we should be good. Hello, Rhonda. So awesome that you popped in. You did a drive-by. You know how they do it with the talk shows. Like, Tom Cruise was going to drop by. He just happened to be in the neighborhood, right?
He dropped by.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Bonnie. Hello. We love you guys so much. Thanks for being here and hanging out. This is
I've been having such a fun day.
Thursday date night with y'all.
In our Facebook group called The Connection Tribe. Oh, my gosh.
Why don't we start with your little post?
Really?
Let's start with the shenanigans, okay? No, there's no good Trisbrina show without a shenanigan.
So this morning, I go into our, I guess you got the guest bathroom.
She's got to set it up.
Whatever you call it, the powder room, the half bath.
It's the powder room.
And there is what you're going to see. And the first thought that came to my mind is, this is the result of a lazy action. Not a lazy person, of a lazy choice. And so I took this picture, and Tristan was in the shower. I went to the shower. I opened the shower door, and I said, this personifies a lazy action. He goes, no, it looks like somebody was busy. So I was like, yes, lazy versus busy. So we show you this picture, and I just asked the Connection Tribe today for their thoughts. Sure. It's kind of a contest. But is this a lazy action or busy?
No. So I get to defend myself. This is awesome. Okay, here's what all of the fuss is about. I'll cover myself up. Go ahead, explain.
Right, so to me, lazy, and we all have our, whatever happens in the bathroom stays in the bathroom. Like, we don't know what each other's experiencing, but I know that I'm not busy. I'm not busy at the time it would take to take that roll off and put the new roll. I wouldn't call that a busy time. So therefore I judge it as lazy. Now, of course, Tristan did say, my plan is to come back and fix it later. What, are you coming to get me? And I just wanted to say busy doing what? And I wrote this. Are you busy counting the tiles, petting Winston? Because Winston likes to come in and demand to be petted between your legs.
Let's blame it on
Contemplating Winston. The universe. Are you doing hands flowing through water like Carrie suggested?
Nope. Honestly, and I see I'm getting credit for at least putting a fresh roll on top. And
wait a minute, but I had put that fresh roll on the shelf right behind, so it was literally boom. He didn't go to the garage and get one.
But I do replenish. And you know what's so funny is I actually put it on a little bit later because that's typically how I roll. I do my business. You guys know when there's nothing left, you got to take care of your own business. And then I put it there because I didn't want to be one of those people who leaves the emptiness. I put it there, I positioned it, and I was like, oh man, class starts like now. I'll get that later because I'm busy. Not lazy.
What do we call it if you use the last bit of the toilet paper and don't replenish it? What do we call it? You
jerk.
Me.
You call it jerk. You shafted me.
You shafted me. You shafted me. You shafted me today, man.
Oh, Barbara, she said I'm mansplaining. You're funny.
Yep.
No wonder you have to be
Beth had a really great thing that she posted in the Connection Tribe, and she said, sometimes men, it might not be men, but it's that other type of people don't see it. They literally don't see it. And I compared it to Tristan can open the refrigerator and goes, there's no coconut milk. Where is the coconut milk? Are we out? Are we out? And I'll be like, you mean that big gallon that's like 2 inches from your nose? Like right there? He's like, oh, I didn't see it. So sometimes there is that.
There is that. But from now on, I will try to be better.
Well, I said that. I was like, I think things will be different moving forward.
I'm going to try.
But I love what Carolyn wrote. Carolyn said, please don't come to my house and take pictures of my potty room.
And as Bonnie says, at least we have extra toilet paper during this time.
We do. We are really low on paper towels, but we could probably TP a house.
See, Nancy does what I do too. See, it's not a man-woman thing. It's a people-person thing. I'm just happy that you had toilet paper and that all is well.
I had it because I bought it and I put it like right here content. And you had to go.
All right. So, thank you for the fun. She makes fun out of everything. Which leads me to the next situation. This is going to set up the brain-body connection. And I was telling Sabrina about, she already knows all my stories. She's like, how many times are you going to tell me this story? And I know everything about what happened in the garage. I'm like, but I need to tell that story. It's a great story. She's like, well, I have a story about what I did to my friend Gary. So off you go.
So we were talking about the power of the brain-body connection. And how do you really help somebody to understand that you don't get a choice? It's just there. And I said, well, I think one of the first times that I really experienced it consciously I was in the 9th grade, and I was visiting my cousins, Ann and Alan, in Newport News, Virginia, which was just like an hour away. And my brother was there, and his best friend Gary was there. And Gary was a senior in high school, and they were drinking. They had a lot to drink.
You mean like alcohol?
Yeah. Okay. And Gary was really skinny, and so he couldn't drink as much as the bigger people. And so he wasn't feeling too good, and so we went for a walk.
How old do you think you were?
Me?
Yeah.
14, 15.
Well, you were just a little thing.
Yeah. And they were probably 18. And Gary was like, oh, I feel so sick. I just feel like I'm going to throw up. And I thought it was funny. And so I said, so you don't want to eat any pepperoni pizza with a chocolate milkshake or maybe some broccoli with ketchup on it? And he just went, and he started throwing up in the street.
This is who I live with. This was already in there. I didn't provoke that. Way before I ever met her.
And so just me saying those words to him caused his body to vomit because of his brain body connection.
So this was her first light bulb moment that you can affect the body through speaking to the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember one time I was washing my face, and the washcloth, I held it on my face. And
this was in the past 3 years, I think.
Yeah, but it was such a powerful moment as I was washing my face, and I smelled this fragrance. I guess we had a new soap or something. And immediately I was transported to being like 7 years old, and I was standing in the bathroom at my Nana's house because it was the exact smell that my brain remembered from my Nana. And that's incredible. So different things cause these memories or affect the brain body.
Yeah, so that smell, body, activated the memories in the brain.
Yeah, the smell. So it works both ways. I guess that's where we're going with this. It's sort of a proprioceptive feedback loop for anybody who, like Kobe, for example, physical therapists. They know that the body has signals, and those signals are received by the brain, and the brain interprets those signals and sends information back to the body. And sometimes the brain, like ketchup with yogurt or whatever you said, and the body goes, ugh. So it works both ways.
Right. So if you've ever had food poisoning, right? Like the only time I recall having like really food poisoning, I was teaching a bunch of fitness classes, and I was making these pumpkin muffins. And we had just moved to Texas, and I was driving to the facilities where I was teaching, and I had the pumpkin muffins on the dashboard. And I opened one up, and I pulled it apart, and I thought, oh, that's curious. I haven't seen that stringy stuff. And I ate it, and I thought, that's a little peculiar. Oh my gosh.
You guys ever done that?
Don't
eat those muffins
sick.
with the stringy stuff.
I was hugging that toilet bowl, vomiting.
I've done this too.
And then you're having diarrhea and vomiting at the same time. I even had a fever for a couple days.
It's horrible.
Now, it was not the pumpkin muffin, right? It was probably the egg. It had gone bad. I had food poisoning. But you try to get me to eat a pumpkin muffin for 20 years? Right? Yeah. Because my brain body had associated that with that whole experience. It had nothing to do with that poor little pumpkin muffin. It had to do with the bad ingredient in it. Or if you've ever been sick from if you ever drank something like gin, maybe.
Or like too much wheatgrass juice.
Oh.
I used to drink that until I started getting so sick from it.
Oh.
And then you say wheatgrass juice. Like she said wheatgrass juice. Oh, I can feel sick. I can drink it.
I can smell it just with you saying it.
The memory of,
no.
Right? And it's so good for you. Okay.
Oh gosh, I smell it right now.
Okay, so obviously we're demonstrating brain-body connection. So let's talk about pain and signals getting stuck.
Do you relate to this?
Yeah, do you have any stories?
Do you have some things where like you think about it based on something that happened in the past that you're like, no.
Clam bake. Kobe clam bake. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Gotta listen to that nose. Right? The nose.
And somebody else will be like, oh, that smells so good. And you're like, It might be a certain hairspray. It can be anything that you had a bad experience with. It can be a sound.
Yeah.
It can be a sound. It can be a song that makes you so happy because it connects you to a memory and your whole body gets happy. Or it can be a sound that connects you to a memory that brings you to your knees, crying in sadness.
So right? Our lives are conditioned by these connections between the brain and the body. What we see, what we smell, we're talking about the senses, obviously. That information goes in, it affects the brain state, right? What the pattern is, and then creates a physical outcome. And so some folks are looped in patterns because they can't upgrade the thought process or the body process. And so we've got some tricks up our sleeve that can help you with your body and your brain when it comes to pain. And so we wanted to talk about those different examples because I think everybody can relate to that, right? Like we all get it. Okay, brain-body connection's a real thing. And therefore, it's a very powerful thing because if you get your brain state right, you can really change your physiology and vice versa, right? If you move your body in certain ways and align your energy, it affects your brain. So we've got a lot of potentiality here in front of us. So let's talk about mind-body magic. What is that all about? Why do we have this thing? Okay, so my experience of this is that my body has had a lot of memories from stress that gets internalized, and I lock it up inside myself, and then I get pain in my body. Raise your hand. Let us know if you have had stuff like that, where you're pretty sure that your pain or maybe a dis-ease in your body has come from stress or emotions that you've held within. Okay? Oh. I think a lot of us on the personal growth journey know that's a for real thing, and we're working on that. How about, are there some of you here, maybe you have both of these, where you've had an injury, or maybe you fell down once, or you fell off a bike, or you tripped and hurt your ankle, or you got in a car accident, something, and because of that pain in the body, plus the memory of that thing happening, you notice that it just keeps showing up. Yeah. Right? Have you got that? I think with your shoulder.
I actually have it. I have it crazy with the bed sheets.
Oh, another situation, right? Yeah.
So I can't stand when.
Oh, she can't stand this. She's not like just saying that as a phrase. Will kill you.
I can't stand when the sheets, they're tucked in the bottom and then they go like up to here. And then you fold them over and they're doubled over. I like them to just come to here. I will remake the bed. I really don't like it. And then if the blanket is up there too, I'm not sleeping in that bed. I have to redo it. And it didn't occur to me why until I think we were joking around with my mom and dad, Keith and Rita, who are probably here. And my father's mother and father, my mama and papa, when we would go to see them, their house was really cold, especially the room where we slept in. And she made quilts. And they had this twin bed that I would sleep in when we would visit them. And they would open the covers and I would get in. They'd cover me up. But there were like 7 quilts. And I would have to call out to be rolled over. Yeah, I want to roll over.
You literally couldn't move, right?
So I couldn't roll over because it was so heavy. And I was like, well, no wonder I don't like that.
Total claustrophobic tendency.
Especially that whole fold down thing. It's like, no.
So if the sheets are too high up on our bed, we're going to hear about it. Why is this like this? Why are the sheets up here? They're too high. I hate it. Do you do that or do you do that?
There's not many things I really can't stand that. And now that I related it back and I remember waking up in the middle of the night and you know how you wake up and you're like, oh, I need to roll over. I'm thinking, I need to roll over and I can't move because they piled so many quilts on me.
It's a real thing, people. It's a real thing. So, okay, if this is the reality, then we should be able to do something about it, right? If we change
it to our advantage.
And use it to our advantage, yes. Not just end pain or a habit, but also use the power of the brain-body connection to create powerful habits, supportive habits that lead us towards our goals and dreams. So I just want to talk about pain right now in the body because it's been a real interesting journey for me, and it's led me to the teaching that we do today. I used to call myself a self-defense instructor, and lately I've been calling myself a health defense instructor. And what I've learned so much is the battle's within. It's this battle between the brain and the body, but there's a gorgeous elixir that can help heal and mend and rewire that brain-body connection.
So it's a partnership rather than a battle when you know how to use it.
And that elixir, and I think many of you know what it is already, but it is your breath. Your breath, because your breath can help reset certain signals between the brain and the body and the body and the brain. Remember, it's a loop mechanism. It works in both directions. It's chicken or egg thing. So I remember the first time, like I've had a lot of twinges in my back and bumps and knocks and all kinds of stuff. The grinding of the jaws, somebody here mentioned that a moment ago, the sweaty palms, like all this body-mind, psychosoma stuff, right? You had it with little like tummy stuff, and like didn't you have like your doctor said you were going to have an ulcer?
Yeah, when I was like 7 or 8.
She worried so much as a little girl. She
about
was
winning
so
the coloring contest.
That so we like so many of you here is no stranger to these brain-body situations. So for me with my back,
swimming.
My back used to bug me when I was a kid and I had things happen, but then the back pain went away. And I was doing martial arts and I was dancing and I was doing all this stuff and I was great. But then I started this hardcore fighting stuff and I had a lot of stress of like playing the role of the bad guy and then some of my own personal stuff that was trying to come out that I wasn't addressing. And I was cutting the signal between the brain and body that was trying to help me. That's an important thing. I was feeling things.
Yes.
So your body's a barometer. It's a friend, but I was ignoring it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, we were saying earlier, people get a little twinge, a little glitch, and they start thinking, oh, I should probably be careful when I do that. But they don't take action to find a resolution. They don't find a way to shift that. And when you don't, it's like a tumbleweed blowing, or a snowball going down a hill. It's just going to get bigger and bigger.
And bigger. Yeah. So I didn't address it. My analogy that I love is you're driving your car on the dashboard and the red light comes on, like check engine oil, check the engine. And you're like, oh, I don't have time. I'm busy. And you go under the hood and you cut the wire.
And see, being busy has caused a lot of problems in Tristan's life.
True. Slow it on down, brother. So you cut that wire and you keep on going, right? So stop cutting the wire and look under the hood. Means look inside usually what's going on with you that this body thing might be showing up. Mm-hmm. So I was cutting the wire, and I remember it so well, and I have to be mindful of this. I've actually cleaned up the memory, but I can remember what it was like before. So I was in my garage, and I bent down to pick up a screw. There was a screw in the way of walking in from the garage to the house, and I bent down, and oh man, I got a catch, one of those catches. And I'd had this stuff before. This is before in the dojo doing the self-defense stuff and being laid out. But I didn't pay attention to it. I just worked through it and it'll be fine. And so that catch really snowballed into all kinds of drama. Now, during the healing journey, I'm going to demonstrate the movement and how I corrected the pattern. So we'll jump forward real quick and then we'll do the movements together, okay? But I want you to understand the power of the breath and why it works.
And how the movement that initially caused your glitch was nothing.
It was bending to pick up a screw, okay? But it was compounded by all the ignoring that I had been doing, the avoiding and the numbing. So if you do that, and I think we all do to some degree, we ignore the pebble in the shoe, we numb the pain, we numb the emotion, we do whatever we do. It's a defense mechanisms. We all have them. Look at you, big girl. Man, I feel little. Anyway, please try not to do that, right? Because there's a lesson inside of the signal. You trying to go down? She's so light. It's like with the bed sheets, and she can't get out. She can't make her own chair go down. She's too little. Okay, so
It's weird too.
I was learning the Qigong and all the cool stuff that we teach you guys, but there was this one technique in a system that we call the Art of Mushin. So Mushin is this meditation that clears your mind and just gets you into flow state. And it's the sound that you make, and you send the breath up your back. So if you've never heard it, I'll demo it, and you can try it with the movements in a moment. So it's pretty simple. You take a nice deep breath in, and it's usually done with a very spiritual sound. No kidding. You could do it that way. It's just, it's this exhale.
Like a sound you would make when something is good, like almost like an
But it's the
like relief. Sound. It sounds more like relief.
Yeah. We turned this into a CD, like an audio MP3 training.
Download audio guided meditation.
Yeah, because what I'm about to tell you blew my mind so much that I'm like, I have to share this with people. It was such a big piece of the healing journey for me. So I thought, okay, this sound, I know that this sound relaxes the brain, and I know that this sound can put the brain waves into an alpha type meditative state. And while I was studying the brain-body connection, I realized that there's a part of the brain called the amygdala that puts you into the startle, that fight or flight or freeze mode. And that brain signal is what happened when I bent down. I get that catch, trying to demo it for you, not to make you feel that. That part of my brain body went, right? Mm-hmm. And then you start to loop in that because you get the signal, the brain goes, whoa, guard, protect, lock it down, protect, right? So that flinch startle response is the culprit for so many issues that people have. If you like tap your hand all the time, or you're always tapping your foot, or you have to keep moving, it's like you're hyperactive in the brain. You need to chill out, right? And just elicit the relaxation response. Well, I knew that could shift the brain state. I thought, well, every time I do this one particular move, and this style of circular movements I was learning, the teacher said, look for the glitches. Mm-hmm. Look for the little moments that your breath catches, because those are moments that your brain is having a little short circuit signal, and it's going, zzz,
warning,
zzz.
Warning.
Right, the little red light's coming on, and if you trigger it, if you ping it too much, it'll go, whoop, lockdown. And you ever have that thing where you're like, oh man, it's going to be a couple of days before I can get out of this?
Oh yeah.
It's not just your body, it's your brain signal goes, we're in lockdown.
Yep.
You're staying put for a while. I'm going to protect you from this thing.
Yep, it's like, I remember this pumpkin muffin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So because that signal in the brain is so strong, and the memory, because then it's catch up and yogurt and the wheatgrass and the memory, right? It triggers that physical feeling, right? The smell of the soap triggers that memory in the brain. That's how powerful that proprioceptive loop is.
And how you can use it for you or against you.
So you've got to reset it. And so that's where we're going with this. So I knew that the sound was the opposite of this. What's that? That's that guard.
Yep. Or the opposite of like, oh.
Holding or compressing your breath. Guarding, guarding, guarding. So let's demo.
Let's use your chair.
I added the sound of the breath to the movement. Now you're going to probably turn this a little bit to put me into less, you'll be able to see, right? It'll be less fuzzy. So we're going to just get this off the fuzz mode. I'm going to actually come back further.
Is that good?
That seems good. Okay, so what I was doing to experiment with this was I was just putting my hands on my knees like this, and then just training my core to feel comfortable supporting me and engaging these muscles that had been so locked up for so long. I was just here, and this can be done in a chair also. We've demonstrated a little bit of this, but different, where you're just standing up. Okay, but I want to take it a little bit further. So I was, am I a little fuzzy?
I'm trying to, I think you're good.
Okay, so the movement is just right here like that, but the movement alone is not the thing, because I was doing the movement. I went back into the garage because I knew that I had a memory in the garage of hurting myself, and I was trying to recalibrate that memory. So I was doing these circles, and I would notice that catch, and I would push through it, but I was holding my breath, and I'd come out of it, and then I'm okay. And I kept focusing on physical. I'm trying to massage the tissues. I'm trying to warm up the back. I'm trying to retrain my body that it's safe. And I'm like, no. That's when I had the idea. That sound, it reverses the signal in the brain. And I went, what if I do the sound breath work? I'll feel more relaxed. And then I do the move. What if I do the sound breath work while I do the move? Because it still felt stiff. I'm like, and I was just like, no friggin' way. There was no tightness, there was no worry, and there was no pain. I'm like, that's got to be a fluke. Let me try that again. You got to get the breath going first. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You may not be able to hear the breath. If you have Happy Healthy Back or one of the other programs, you know what we're talking about.
And I started to do it without my hands and without the support. And then I started to do it with every part of my body, making that sound. Again, the sound is eliciting the opposite of the guarding reactive response. It's eliciting the relaxation response. It's putting your brain in a state where it can't grip or tighten. Right? It can't lock because you're giving it the signal to open. Another analogy for this is people have this when they try to go number one in the toilet and they're having trouble and someone turns the water on. What do they hear? Flowing water sound, and their body goes, oh, it relaxes.
You know what I do? I just go like this.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I shouldn't tell.
No, that's cool. I know it sounds too...
Does anyone else do that?
I know it sounds too simple. Like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm telling you. The ability to train your brain to stop doing the same guarding and gripping. Now, stress can be low grade. You can be in a threat response right now and not even know it. And you know what? A lot of us are. Because our nervous systems have adapted to these signals that are constantly on. And where our shoulders are a little higher. You wonder, I'm a little tighter, right? Body parts are a little bit compressed. Organ systems are not flowing as well because this brain-body connection's off.
Yep.
And when you recalibrate it, and this is why you want to meditate and do flowing movements and breathing and sounds and tapping and qigong, you can free your system by recalibrating those signals. Mm-hmm. I can't say enough about this. Yep. So we wanted to share a little bit about where that came from and why it's part of Mind Body Magic. And why I think the Happy Healthy Back program is some of the best work we've ever done, because we explain this in such a good way in that program, and then we apply it to the whole body, to the whole back, the whole spine, neck, shoulders, right? Cool?
As your awareness increases to feel, almost see where you're carrying the tension, the more that you do these exercises. Sometimes at night I wake up and I just do a body scan. I'd say it takes me 4 seconds. And a lot of times I find that I didn't even know like how am I having tension while I'm sleeping? And I just go like this. But it's from years of training that I can do it in 4 seconds. But once you get used to being mobile, and it has to do with trusting your body's ability. Did you tell him how you went back to the same place that the injury had happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Is I went back into the garage where that glitch had happened because I knew that if I could reset my brain in that environment where all of that started, I could help get out of the looping. And I wanted permanent.
Yeah.
I wanted permanent results, which I've gotten since working through all of this. But I did a lot of this breathing, and I did a lot of circles. Because the reason circles are so helpful, and they're a big part of martial yoga and Happy Healthy Back, is because they give your nervous system and your body, you move up against where the glitch was or where the tightness is, and you go there and you make the sound louder as you're moving through it, and then you come back into safety. And then you do it again, and you just start increasing the range of motion so that you can get that full body motion back. But your movement is also unwinding adhesions and tissue, tension in the tissue. It's bringing fresh blood to an area that hasn't been moved as much. A lot of this stuff is just we start moving around it, and we build up these pain type of cysts. And so you're massaging through them. You're bringing fresh blood. Chi is carried by blood, and you're doing the brain body. It's safe. And then your brain goes, oh, it was okay. And then what happens is that signal is gone, and you're back to normal. I love that this works so well. And
the communication, the bond, almost like the friendship between the brain and body starts to be formed because you're a team. You're not against each other. And so I had this massage therapist years ago, and he was really into going into the tightness, but he would go into it so much it would be so physically painful for me that I was tensing up to fight back from him trying to help me. And I remember saying, if you could go a little softer, even though I know you think you should go harder, I don't have that brain body trust to accept that much pain right now. And if we could ease into it. He only knew what he knew, and he didn't understand that. He was just like, no, we must go as hard as possible. And so I stopped seeing him because I wasn't getting results. And I wasn't getting results because I was fighting.
He was triggering.
I was fighting it. And that's why when Tristan said, when you're doing the movements, you brush up against it, and it's a safety. It's a trust issue. It's just like when you have psychologically, maybe you've been wounded in a way and you don't want to trust. The body has that same thing. If you get hurt doing something, it's like you have a distrust with that movement.
Training your brain.
And the friendship has to be rebuilt that it's okay. And mind body magic lets you have this incredible relationship that allows you to use the power of the brain-body connection to your benefit. And I think it was Kathy wrote in the chat, how can you deal with overeating or choosing the right foods? Well, you can have a situation where you eat something and it really does cause you to be sick and you don't want it, or you can create that for yourself. So I have created memories on purpose for myself of how I feel. Like, let's say Thanksgiving and there's so much food and you just want to eat it all. And it's so fun in the moment, right? And you're so full. But then for me, 20 minutes later, I don't feel good. My stomach hurts. I feel almost grouchy. So I really try to remember how awful I feel when I overeat. And embedding that so that is the feeling that I have is what I don't want. What I do want is to feel good, and to substitute for myself, well, why don't you eat a certain amount now and then have a pause and then eat the rest later? It's not like you can't have it. Why don't you space it out? Wouldn't that be nice for your stomach instead of shoving more in it than it can have and trying to ask it to swell? What about just giving it what it can hold letting it work and get rid of some so you can give some more. So helping my brain to understand that kind of story. And then also knowing that how good I feel in the mornings. This is just me. Maybe no one else has it. But if I kind of made a commitment to I want to eat a certain way, or I'm on some type of I don't want to eat this and I want to eat more than that, the morning that I wake up that I had a good day, like, oh yay, whatever it is, like I didn't eat any gluten, or I stayed on my calories, or I did the thing that I said I was going to do, that next day I feel really good about myself. And if I was good, and then at like 8 o'clock the night before I was like, screw this, and you eat the bag of Doritos, I know that when I wake up the next morning that it's hard not to be like, loser. I have to deal with all that self-hatred psychology. That's a whole nother issue for another episode. But like, why even set that up? Yeah. Why? So a lot of the times I'll be like, you know what? And Tristan will say, hey, do you want this or do you want that at night? And I'll go, no, I'm good. Because I know, first of all, I'm full and I don't need it. But I also know that I don't want to deal with that disappointment in myself over doing something I said I wouldn't do. So there are a lot of ways to use that connection to make better food choices, is to remember how good you feel when you do.
You're right. That will be a great episode for us to dive into emotions and habits, and how we can, like, using techniques like Sabrina's talking about. We've got a few other tricks up our sleeve with mental kung fu that can help you to recalibrate. So much of it's identity as well, and how we see ourselves. This particular technique, I'm going to tell you, is really effective for physical pain that's been chronic, and looping patterns that you feel like I've been stuck in them, and it's very physical.
Our little fears, fears and phobias.
Yeah.
About movement.
Yeah, definitely concerns of movement, but physical outcropping of pain in the body. And you like, my knee hurts. So there was a question about your knee. Let me jump back to that one. And I'm going to put this here real quick just so you guys have a copy of that in case you want to go grab one.
And really good when, like, if you've had a procedure, like sometimes, let's say somebody had a knee replacement or you had something and you're on that physical therapy journey back and you sort of have to push up against the discomfort, you'll make much faster results using the Mind Body Magic.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So there's two paths there, right? There's one is you've had an injury, scar tissue's laid down, you've got a reactive looping pattern, and there is some discomfort to work through it. And physical therapists will tell you the sooner we can get you moving and get that scar tissue, break it up, the better off your outcome is going to be. But that's working with a professional, doing that type of work. But definitely add this to it, because you don't want to work through pain and simultaneously create patterns in your brain that this isn't fun, that this has to hurt, right? So the breath and moving meditations and energy work, a lot of people have been able to work through things with like a complete reduction in pain. That's why I told you when I was moving, I was trying to work through the pain, right? I've got to rebuild these muscles. I've got to recalibrate these tissues. And the moment that I included the breathing technique and released the brain signal, the pain subsided. So that means you could do your rehabilitation with a massive reduction in the pain experience. So that would be something I would highly encourage, especially PTs, physical therapists, to try that with their patients, because I think they're going to be very surprised on what happens. Yep. The second thing is, if you've got pain right now that's old and chronic, I wouldn't, Sabrina explained it really clearly with the trust analogy. You don't want to push through the pain. What you want to do is get the breathing going, and you do the small circles that don't elicit the pain signal. So you see, this is completely different than a physical therapy approach. This is old chronic pain where I'm going to mainly focus on the brain, not on tissues that have adhesions. Okay? So now I'm training my brain to trust me. I'm going to go right up to the cusp of where it normally triggers. I'm going to make the sound, and I'm going to notice that if I can do that without pain, we are starting to build trust. Then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go a little bit further. and you go a little bit further, right? Kind of like maybe a dog that has been skittish or scared, and now they live with you, and you're trying to build that trust with them, and it's hard to move up close to them at first. They're scared, but over time you're able to put a hand on them, and over time you can pet them again, and over time you can cuddle them. You got to build that trust slowly with your body, and I hope that really helps you understand how to apply this. The magic is in getting the brain to release that lockdown feeling.
Because every time it locks down, your brain's going to release more cortisol. It's going to get more stress, and it's recreating, right? Every time you, let's say your memories are books in a library. Every time you pull a book and read it, when you put it back, there's a copy of it. Right? So every time you trigger the memory of pain, you're actually writing a whole new book about it. So the shelves become more and more full of books over that one memory, my left knee hurts. Right? That's why it's so hard to, that's why we're saying, no. Open that book and just read to the part that still feels okay. Brush up against the next few pages. Don't create a new book. So I'm going to read the rest later and then come back. Chronic pain is when you have a whole shelf full of that one book that says the exact same thing. It's just this, it's repeating, it's recurring, it's a replay, it's a rerun. So it isn't just that you're brushing up against the old pain, is that it's when you have that tension and that reaction, you just recreated it fresh.
Yeah.
Again.
And there you go. You're back in the loop.
Again. Mm-hmm.
In the Happy Healthy Back program, we include energy breathing on energy points, because what we know from practices like EFT, emotional freedom technique, is that if you can recalibrate the energy flow signal while you're thinking about or moving through something, that you can, there's different theories on how it works. Some believe that you're scrambling the signal in the brain so it stops sending it. Others believe that it's just eliciting deeply the relaxation response. I don't really care how it works, just the fact that it works. When you work with your energy points and you do it slow with breath and the way we teach you to put energy into your hands, you're also helping to reset the energetic disruptions, because oftentimes those can be the root cause of negative emotions, and emotions that are looping and that you stay stuck in, they lead to physical issues, right? Brain, body, emotions, body. So we're trying to reset from different vantage points. Mind Body Magic, which is the crux of this program, says you've got two minds and two bodies. So we're trying to work with the subconscious mind, but we're also consciously aware and doing breathing and trying to upgrade the story, not trying. That's why I went to the garage again to say, hey, I've got a memory pattern here about bending down and in this place. Let me see if I can repattern. Yeah. And the other is with the body. The physical body needs to start sending those trust signals as well. And the energy body that gets disrupted needs to be cleaned up. So when you hit it from that four-prong approach, that's when things start to really meld and make sense, and you've got that beautiful connection. Cool?
Cool. All and right. that analogy that I gave you about you're like creating a new copy of that book that you don't want to read, when we said earlier that we're talking about the power of the brain-body connection and how you can use it for good, that same thing happens. So when you can elicit like this positive, new, fresh excitement and emotion for something good, it's like you just wrote another book towards your success, towards your goal, towards that which you desire. So when you do it that way, you get a whole shelf full of the book that says, I am healthy, I am able, I am vibrant, I am strong, which is why we incorporate into some of the programs like Happy Healthy Back statements and mantras that you say as you're moving, because we want a whole shelf of books that say, I am strong. So if you really think about it that way, that every time you pull a memory from your brain and put it back, you put back it's not the same memory. You kind of rewrote it and added to it. And it really helps you be more aware of what you're focusing on and what you're thinking about and what you're writing about. Because you're always writing your story, right? Yeah. We say rewrite your story. You rewrite the books you want, Lots and lots and lots of
We
them.
put mantras into Happy Healthy Back, so you're rewriting the story. I am strong. I am flexible. But you're saying these as you're doing the movements,
So cool.
because that's really important as well. To your question, Mary, you're so welcome. We're so glad to be able to share these tips and insights and strategies with you guys. I'm actually going to read what you wrote. I always feel better when I eat more veggies. I so love them. I can't overeat. I feel the same as Sabrina on that. She said, thank you for the info on pain and rehab. You're so welcome. Can I ask, how do you get those who aren't into energy medicine, how do you get them to take better care of themselves? And I think we kind of set that up for you here. Because of the 2 minds and 2 bodies, you can go through different doors. And that's what we do. There are different ways of thinking. There are different narratives that you can talk to people about. If energy sounds a little bit like, huh, to somebody, I don't go through the energy medicine door. I'll go through the physical and how the brain and the body are connected. And people usually, they'll go, yeah, I get that. I can see how I have tension here when I worry. Oh, I get it. It's brain body. And then you can start doing circles and movements and you get them breathing. And then you can say, did you know that that's affecting your brain? And they're going to want to take better care of themselves because they have a deeper, greater understanding of their holistic body mind.
I mean, ultimately, you can't do anything for anyone unless they want to do it for themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
But there are people that we love that we would like to see take better care. And I would say base it in what we say, not you're bad for what you're doing, so you need to do this. Like with exercise, some people approach it like, I ate too much, I'm overweight, I'm out of shape, my punishment is I have to exercise. And when you can shift that to, when I exercise, I feel so good about myself, my metabolism is catapulted, I fit in my clothes better, I feel happier, my mood shifts, I am a better person. Those are 2 completely different approaches to the same class, is to try to help that person find out like, what is the great thing? So it's not paying a debit, it's like getting a credit. I make a lot of jokes about that in some of my fitness classes. Are you here because you feel like you're paying off you were bad, it's a debit day? Are you here because life is great and you're putting a credit in the bank?
That's awesome.
I mean, that's a really, 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 really big thought with every single day of your life when you wake up in the morning. Yeah. Never use the day to pay off a debit, no matter what happened the day before. No matter how you moved, how you ate, what you thought, what you said, every day is a credit towards love, is a day to move more into that which you love.
That's a really nice way to end this session. Where are you coming from? Are you trying to fix something broken? Because if that's what you're doing, then that's the identity that you're shaping. I am broken.
That's the grass you're watering.
That was a big part of my healing journey. Oh my gosh, I'm really glad you brought that up. My back is broken. My back is hurt. I have this issue. I'm trying to fix it. All I was doing
I can't move.
Was I was just reinforcing that I have this issue. And actually, Dr. Sarno's work helped me a lot as I read his books. He talked about how there's nothing wrong with your back, even if you have MRIs or x-rays and things that show. He called it gray hair of the spine. He said more than anything, it's oxygen deprivation, which means because you're in these reactive patterns, you're not getting as much oxygen into those tissues. And that's what's the root cause of the pain. And so that theory, and I know it to be true because oxygen and blood flow, as it's reduced, it reduces the energy flow, chi flow, because chi is carried through blood. You start to see all the correlations between things. And then he said, if you keep trying to fix your physical body, you'll keep telling your mind that you have a problem in your physical body, when in reality you don't. You've got a thinking thing. And, well, actually that's not true. It's not a thinking thing. It's a brain thing. It's a protection thing. Let me end on this. People sometimes get upset when people talk about mind-body conditions, and they think that you're saying, you're thinking a bad thought, and that's why you have pain in your body. Mm-hmm. And that's very hurtful to someone. So be careful not to say that, because they're not trying to have pain. All they want is for the pain to go away.
It's a computer program. Computer programs aren't bad.
It's a maladaptive computer program signal that needs to be reset back to normal. So don't try to fix the physical. Don't try to come from the side of a debit. Come from the place of, I love returning my body to its natural, healthy, vibrant state. Awesome, it's beyond an affirmation. It's a truth that all is well. This body is built by a universal consciousness. It absolutely can go back to its healthiest state if you create the environment, brain, body, breath, for that to happen. Yep. You get it? Good. Awesome. Then we're all good.
Right. So if you don't have a copy of Happy Healthy Back and you want one until tomorrow, Friday at midnight, there's a coupon for 70% off. We just added a super bonus. It's all on the page, satorimethod.com/happyback. If you know of anyone who you kind of like are tentative, share the page, share the coupon. We are really trying to do everything we can. We think that we are saying when people have been like on lockdown, everything's getting locked up. We're looking for ways that we can do our part to help the world, help the planet, help everyone kind of get through this and come out better than they were before. What did I read today? You're either going to come out of this self-quarantine as a monk, as a hunk, as a chunk, or a drunk.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I'm going to be the monk, and the hunk.
A monk, a hunk, a chunk, a chunky, chunk.
Yeah.
Or a drunk.
Or a chump.
I'm not responding.
Fun conversation. Let us know what you dug, what you'd like us to talk about, other things. Thanks
for showing up live. It makes it really fun for us. And thank you for watching the replay.
And the questions.
And when you watch on Facebook and comment, we always go back and listen. This is like our little fun time with you guys.
It is really, really fun. Have a wonderful Thursday. We're going to have our little date night. I don't know. We'll walk around the house.
We're going to go in the other room.
Tour the house a little bit.
We're going to go fill the toilet paper rolls.
This offer, just so you know, it's an offering, okay? We're truly trying to serve and to help. Yes, we do free stuff. Yes, we share and inspire. And yes, we make programs and products because we know how much they can help people. We put a lot of love into them. And we're doing these crazy discounts right now because from a place of love, let's just keep showing up and serving. So we hope that this will serve those of you who need this. It's available to you right now. And so many people are telling us how much they love it. And thank you. That was always the intention, is to help get you out of pain and get you into living the most high vibe, healthy life. So until next time, we're going to dance it out. Yes, we are. We've got our handy dandy
spooky song.
Ha! Ha! Thanks, everybody.
I can't read all your comments.
Oh, don't forget, we added that immune booster workshop, and the sound breath work bonus is included.
Yeah, there's no way to get the immune boosting workshop except through Happy Healthy Back.
All right. Much love. See you next time.